So Jason and I have known each other since we were 7 years old. I think we've talked about a number of different companies over the years. I know for a while Jay and I both wanted to open a bike shop, and we were going to fix and repair everyone's bike. So, but that whole concept, I think, of Jay and I doing some business together has always been there.
Yeah. I mean, even when we were kids, when we were teenagers and stuff, our thing was, oh, we're going to open up a computer store, and sell computer hardware and stuff like that. That was back in the day when there was a computer store in every corner, and that seemed like a good idea at the time. So, needless to say, we probably never realized that we would own a software company that employs, 60 some odd people. So.
I think myself, I was a little bit kind of stifled. I was, 24 years old, and I thought I knew everything. It's probably taken me the last 10 years to realize that I really didn't know anything at the time. But I was really looking for a bit of a change. Jason and I had went away and went on vacation actually on a beach. And at that point in time, we'd come up with this great idea that I would quit my job and go off, and we'd open this new consulting company that would focus on internet technology and development.
I thought, what the heck, never done anything like this before, so sure, we'll give it a try. So after many drinks on the beach in the Dominican, we kind of come up with the idea, and 2 or 3 months later, we were setting up shop in a small office that we rented across town.
After the first drink, it was kind of an interesting idea, and after about the 20th drink, it became, the best plan that was ever laid. So then after that, I came back to Canada, and almost immediately proceeded to resign from my previous company. It was about a month later, and the company was created.
I think Mike was pretty confident, or he's always good at exuding confidence anyway, but I was nervous. I was definitely nervous, and like I said, it was nothing that I'd ever done before. But you know what? We all jumped in and did what we had to do, and it was definitely a learning experience.
I remember when we first opened the company, this is myself and Jason and 3 other individuals. We were in this one little room, and people would call our main line. Jason would answer it, and then he would put his finger over the cordless phone and say, "Just 1 minute," and then he'd pass it over to me, and I would take the phone from the other side of the cubicle and then pretend I was picking it up. So it was, we really kind of played that piece. And at that time, we had contracts with pretty large clients, and I'm sure would have been very surprised to find out it was really just 5 guys in a little corner office passing the cordless phone back and forth. So I remember when we first hired Carlos, Jason and I had interviewed him, and he was currently working for Staples, and he had just finished university.
To prepare for the interview, one of the things that I needed also was a lot of knowledge in a specific area, and also obviously a suit. And prior to that, I didn't really have a lot of suits, obviously, so I do believe that I counted on my parents at that time, who had put together some fashionable formal wear for my big event. So
we interviewed him. I think he was pretty nervous at the time. I think he was also shocked at how young we were. So, but yeah, we brought him on board, and he started as I think it was a junior developer back in May of 2001.
I felt really good about the interview. I felt that I did well, that I answered all the questions that I needed to. At the time, they seemed young, but I think one of the things that Mike always had was he was very, very professional, and he appeared a lot more mature and older than what was led to believe if you looked at his driver's license, for example. So I think, the interview was quite intimidating, and they just, appeared to be a lot older.
Within a month, Carlos was running circles around the entire team, and I kind of remember a bit of a defining moment when our senior developer, Carlos would call him over and says, "Hey, what do you think of this?" And I remember looking at his face where he just looked at it in complete shock, because Carlos had built what we talked about building over the next 6 months. He'd done it in an extremely short period of time. And at the same time, Carlos had no ego as well. He was very balanced. I mean, he was quite willing to test something, outdo most of our development team at nighttime and come in the next morning and handle support calls. So that was the time when I really identified him as being a strong team player and somebody that I could, really work side by side with and make a partner. I I remember actually a defining moment, I think, when we became just a bunch of people trying to build an organization, and we really consider ourselves what we would have said, quote, a real company. And it's kind of a funny story because it's when we actually had our toilet paper delivered. So up until then, Jason used to run out and pick up the toilet paper whenever we'd run out, and or whatever staff member was closest to the store at the time. But then we had this contract for them to actually deliver our toilet paper and make sure that we had a certain par level on hand. And to me, that was the point where we felt we're now in the big league, and we were basically a real organization and not just, like I said, a bunch of guys kind of in a small office building. We moved to Charlotte. I think we were about 26, 27 people, which was a lot to be crammed in originally just under 3,000 square foot office. And we had about 1,000 square feet at the end of the complex. You had about 180 feet outside you'd have to walk to go from building to building. So offices in the wintertime, it was typically a mad dash down the street for a quick meeting and come back up again. So it was nice when we moved into Charlotte. I mean, we moved downtown. Up until then, being out on Operitel Road, we were kind of at the end of a dead-end road by a recycling plant. So it was great to be able to walk downstairs and to go for lunch and things like that, and not have to get in the car and drive to the nearest McDonald's. We actually purchased the old Vibe building downtown, so we had great plans to turn it into an office complex of 3 stories. And then not too long after that, the Fisher Gauge plant became available. And that was a much cheaper solution, much lower cost for us to retrofit it into an office than to do with the old Vibe building. And we got a great opportunity, it was a great deal, and we went through and started speccing it and then went ahead and built it. 2005, Eric, who had been the very first developer I ever hired, wanted to go back to China. So he approached me about us basically opening an office in China, which for us was a huge experience. I mean, we knew we wanted to grow. China at that time was a huge market with the Olympics coming, and English as a second language being a huge initiative, so we thought it was a great idea to do. Eric went back there and started hiring a number of developers. From a cost perspective, it made a lot of sense. It also allowed us to work at night, which was kind of to take those 12 to 14 hours we were still working and kind of turn them into 24. Our development team would do a lot of coding during the day, and then we would send it over to China to be tested, and then come back in the next morning and they would be able to correct the errors and see where the issues are and continue developing. So it made us a lot more rapid, kind of give us, like I said, a 24-hour nature to our business. And Eric, having an understanding of both Canadian culture as well as the Operitel culture at the time, was able to establish that culture in a country that doesn't necessarily have the same approach to business that we do here in North America.
Yeah, 4 years I think since we've worked with our partners in Australia. And at that time they were doing some pretty innovative stuff. They were a customer of ours, or a partner actually. They were reselling LearnFlex, but they had developed some excellent e-learning programs that they were delivering to their customers, and they were having a lot of success with their programs. They were having a lot of success with the LearnFlex, our product, and they were actually doing things with our product that other partners and customers hadn't done before. I think they were actually the first true partner to push our product to the limits and beyond, and give us a lot of great feedback, a lot of great suggestions. And we looked at the stuff that they were doing and we thought, this is amazing. We really enjoyed working with them at that capacity. So when Mike was talking about partnering with them even further and having them become one with us within Operitel, I thought that was a fantastic idea. Just based on the work ethic that I saw over there and a lot of the success and really creative and fresh ideas that they had.
Hello everyone at Operitel this evening. We just wanted to wish you all our best wishes on a fabulous 10 years. To the whole team, congratulations from Operitel Australia. Cheers.
Cheers.
At this time we had a director of business development that was looking after international business, really focusing on the Australia and our China relationship. But he brought the opportunity to go to Brazil, and it was an interesting opportunity. The partners down there came up to Canada, I met with them. I felt there was a very good personality fit before really a business fit. They're great people. They had very similar values and visions that we had. I then proceeded to go down and meet with them in their country, and they took me around and fed me lots of cachaça, and after that our partnership was born.
We from Operitel Brazil are proud to be part of Operitel Corporation.
I have found in you all Not only the same values and trust, but also people that consider people as the most valuable reason of living.
We are sure that we will grow in the Brazilian market as well in the Latin American market with the product and services from Operitel Corporation.
So feel invited to come, visit, and especially to work with us in Brazil. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I mean, for the longest time, I mean, probably for the first 5 or 6 years, at least until we moved downtown from Powder Road to Charlotte Street, really nobody knew who we were. I mean, you would tell them where do you work, and you'd say, well, I work here, or, depending on what the company name was at the time, but you'd say, well, this is what I do, and this is where I work. Where? So you'd explain what the company did, and, software development company, IT consulting and stuff, and really in Peterborough?
Yeah, I think, understanding that, our team that makes up Operitel is from the community. And so supporting the community and really supporting them supporting the community just builds more strength within our community. And it makes Peterborough seem like home to everyone. And I think people, when they're more comfortable and they feel like they're in a home, they're at their best, and they're going to, from a pure work and innovation point of view, they're going to put their best foot forward. And also from a company, communities today really need companies to stand behind them. And I think we're making an example of that. I think our goals have definitely, I think we've been attained. At the same time, we're always striving for kind of the next level. I know there's been a lot of times where, you're always looking ahead and you're always trying to build and you're always trying to make things better. And over the last 10 years, there's been opportunities to take a step back and go, wow, look what, we've accomplished as a collective. And but at the same time, you're looking at where can we go. So for me, it's always been doing something better. And improving upon it. We're going to continue building upon Operitel and improving upon the ideas. But at the same time, everybody at Operitel should really be proud, because we've accomplished something that most organizations fail in doing. So.